With more on the auditor's report, we are joined by Sabrina Nanji with the Queen's Park Observer. Sabrina, as we heard from Al Sweeney, the Ford government's approach on health care is said to be failing on a number of fronts. Things like people struggling to find a doctor or get a prompt appointment. But the government says it's made headway. So how do we reconcile that discrepancy?
Yeah, I think the Auditor General today in her report really poked some serious holes in some of the Ford government's claims. And as you mentioned, I think connecting people to a family physician, which is one of this government's, big goals, has not really, gone according to plan. And one of the, glaring problems for the AG is that Healthcare Connect, the system that the government uses to connect people to a family doctor, there's not a lot of physicians actually taking part in that, which means that, a lot of people's preferences, if you prefer a doctor of your same gender or a certain age, that's not really being met. And so that has really led to bigger wait times.
Well, another piece that stands out is, of course, billing. The Auditor General says some doctors are billing more than 24 hours a day and some more than 365 days a year. Is there a more immediate way to eliminate that situation?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of problems, as the AG pointed out, in how the government is tracking OHIP billings, which has been a hot potato in Ontario policy, for years now. And she pointed out that the system that the government is using to keep track of this is antiquated. I mean, it dates back to the 1980s. She said there are only 8 people who are in charge of tracking this and making sure doctors are, following the code in the province. And so I think that there's a lot of reforms that could happen on time-based fee codes. Whether the government's going to follow through with that, they have accepted the recommendations. But again, this has been a long time issue in Ontario.
And lastly, the report also said that $42 million was spent on questionable ads. The AG did make a point of saying that that does not include anti-tariff ads. So the question is, how vital are those ads, and what is the impact of advertising, or is it simply a waste?
I mean, certainly the opposition critics are calling it a waste. NDP leader Marit Stiles called it propaganda, but the Ford government is very comms driven, and I think that was pointed out today. I mean, they're spending more on advertising than any government in provincial history. And interestingly, a lot more money was spent in the run-up to the February election campaign. And as you pointed out, the AG said that a lot of these ads were used to make the government look good. They were very self-congratulatory, and under the old AG's rules, they would not have passed the smell test. Rather than, informing people, it was more about making the government look good.
All right. Thank you so much, Sabrina. We appreciate your time. That is Sabrina Nanji with the Queen's Park Observer.
Thanks for having me.